SpaceX Starlink now has a $250 additional fee. What is that all about? Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we're coming to the end of a little bit of misty morning. So good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking space, SpaceX, tech, Linux, all kinds of good stuff. Today is going to be a SpaceX day, Starlink day. They are adding a $250 fee to some of you guys out there, and I want to talk to you a little bit about it and tell you what is going on, but then also my take on it. I found this one interesting because there's a lot of information here that a lot of you might not know what they're currently doing to make things better for each and every one of us. So I want to get into some of that today. I was reading an article over on PC Magazine. I'm going to go through some of it with you, and then of course I'll give you my commentary, but most importantly at the end, down below in the comment area, I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Is this something that is affecting you? Are you going to be charged either the $250 fee or the $100 fee? Or are you not? And like I said, I want to hear from you down below. And if you're shy, you don't want to put something down there, that's fine. Put an emoji. That helps also. YouTube loves that. So the article starts out by saying, in certain US cities, SpaceX is increasing the one-time congestion charge for new Starlink signups from $100 to $250. On Tuesday, one Reddit user noticed that Starlink.com had added a $250 congestion charge to orders in Sacramento, California. Quote, Sacramento area is pricey. Ouch. Back to the waiting list for me, they wrote. The same $250 charge also popped up in San Diego and Phoenix, Arizona. So this isn't just a couple of places, it's not everywhere, but where congestion lies, and also overseas. So we'll get into that in just a second. SpaceX hasn't explained the price increase, but previously the company had placed Sacramento and San Diego and Phoenix behind a wait list. It looks like SpaceX is now reopening access, but only for consumers willing to pay up the $250 congestion charge. The company appears to have done the same in London, UK, United Kingdom, removing the wait list but increasing the congestion charge. So once again, this isn't just the US, it is certain, let's say, states, certain counties, certain locations where congestion exists, but that includes other parts of the world also to take note of here, which is telling because that means that there is a lot of congestion due to the sheer number of SpaceX Starlink users now. They are over 5 million, and they have about 7,130 plus satellites on orbit, but they need more, and they need more ground stations to support them. We'll get into that before the end of this video. Last year, the company began rolling out the $100 congestion charge for select areas where the network had become strained from too many users. The congestion charge still allows users to sign up for a SpaceX Starlink residential plan as long as they pay a premium. In other US cities, SpaceX continues to grapple with capacity constraints. It has imposed a dramatic speed cap for subscribers on the priority plan and threatens to block roam customers if they use the service in sold-out areas for more than 2 months. That's very important. If you're using the roaming plan and you go into an area that is highly congested or sold out, you're only going to be able to be there for 2 months. So if you're going on a vacation and you're going to be in that area for 3-4 months, well, you might end up having a problem. Bear that in mind. The good news is that the congestion charge is still $100 in many other US cities, such as San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Orlando, Florida, right up the road from me. In other US states with plenty of network capacity, SpaceX is taking the opposite approach and going out of its way to discount SpaceX Starlink through its, quote, regional savings program, which offers a $200 price cut. That is very important to note also. While they're increasing the charge from $100 to $250, that one-time fee, the same thing they're doing in the opposite with a $200 price savings in areas where there's a ton of service available. So that's nice that they're working both sides of it. They're not just continuously going up like most ISPs, most telcos. That's what they do. They constantly go up and up and up, never down, ever, ever, ever. So I like to see that. The article finalizes with, this can lower the standard Starlink dish price from $349 to $149 in at least a few U.S. states. SpaceX also offers free or discounted roof installation for SpaceX Starlink dishes. Now that's something brand new. I was going to report on that last week, but I didn't because I don't know if people really care. If you care, let me know down in the comments and I'll talk to you guys about that also. But SpaceX is now offering installation. Obviously, they're like subcontractors that are doing the service, but they do offer it as a service to install the dish on the top of your roof. And if you have a single-story home, it's not that big a deal. But if you're in an apartment or in a house that's 2 stories and you don't want to climb on a ladder all the way up there and do the work, they'll do it for you. We can once again get into fees and all the rest of this stuff in another video if you are interested in it. So this is really good information. I do like, once again, that they're giving back to communities that are, let's say, have a ton of service available, and then they're charging that premium for areas that they don't have any left. And that's just the way it is. And the reason behind this, and that's one of the things that always I get into, is the why. Why does this happen? Why is this going on? Is it just because, SpaceX just want to make a killing on this? Is that it? They just want to do this upcharge to make a, let's say, a greater profit? No, that's not the reason. The reason is network integrity. Okay, if you have too many people on the network in a specific area, remember there's a cone, there's a beam that's going over every single area. Okay, there you have your shell, and then you have different areas where that beam goes over, where those satellites are coming over. Well, if you have a beam going into let's say a specific area that's like 2 kilometers, and that region is highly dense with traffic, well, the satellite's not going to be able to handle it. You're going to end up getting degraded service. So once again, this is more about network integrity and less about profit. It's a means to kind of prevent poor service to the customers that are existing in the area. All right, you kind of follow that. So it's not really for profit. A lot of people are like, oh, they're trying to make more money. No, they're not. They're trying to, let's say, keep the network integrity, right, as it is, and not become worse. Whereas the people that are existing in those areas, all of a sudden their speeds start going down in, let's say, times where there's a lot of traffic going on, peak times. Now all of a sudden their speeds start reducing also. Remember, if you have a piece of pie and you cut that pie into, let's say, 8 pieces, all right, and you have 8 guests, everyone gets an equal piece of pie, right? Well, if 2 more people come, 2 more guests come to the house, and you have the same pie, well, what do you have to do? You have to cut it into 10 pieces. What happens then? Well, everyone gets less pie. Everyone gets less data. So it slows everything down, and that's what they're trying to prevent. There's a little hidden trick that you can do to find out if you are in a congested area, let's say, before you even place your order. If you go to SpaceXStarlink.com and go there not logged in, okay, go there with a fresh browser or even go there with a private browser. Once you get there, go take a look at the map. And if you highlight or just roll your cursor, roll your little mouse over your area, it's going to pop up. Either it's going to flash waiting list or it's going to pop up with available. Now, if it pops up with that waiting list, you know that you're going to end up having to put in a deposit and then just wait. But if it says it's available, you're not in the clear completely. Then check to see if there is an additional fee, because now they're making it so that there isn't a waiting list in certain areas, but you have to pay that extra fee to be able to get on board, being $100, extra fee or $250 extra fee. Either which way, you're going to have to pay in certain areas. But once again, if you go there in a private browser where it doesn't know who you are from Adam, and you just go and highlight your area, you're going to know if you are in a congested area or not. Hopefully that's helpful. Also, I know there's a lot of people who've been asking me about, when is this going to go away? Well, historically, congestion charges they drop off as SpaceX introduces new ground stations. They introduce new POPs or point of presence, or they just simply launch more satellites. And lastly, better satellites. And I think that's going to be the key here. We're going to see all congestion areas be gone, as well as waiting lists be gone also, once we see the version 3, or I guess we would call them version 2, SpaceX Starlink satellites on orbit. The new ones, the ones that we call V3s now. They used to be called V2s, but it's been so damn long, they're V3s now. Anyways, they have 20 times the capacity on board each satellite. 20 times the capacity, and they're about 4 times the size, like bigger than a bus. Okay, they're big. So 4 times the size, but 20 times the capacity. That means one of the new version 3 satellites on orbit will be equivalent to 20 of the current satellites on orbit. That is a major deal. The problem is, and the caveat is the only way to get them there is you need to have Starship working. And Starship keeps blowing up, so it's not working, and we have to wait for that. So once that happens and we see those version 3s on orbit, all of this is going to go away. Prices are going to come down, speeds are going to come up, latency is also going to come down. It's going to be a beautiful day. So the other thing is there's a kind of a trick to avoid the fees, and it's not really the right thing to do, but a lot of people do it. What they do is they put in an address on a fringe area. Let's say in a rural area, the fringe area could be the suburbs someplace where there's not a ton of congestion. And then once they get the service, after a month, they go and change their address to the location that has the congestion. Now, SpaceX sometimes will catch you on it and sometimes they won't. So you can do it if you want, but understand it can violate your TOS, or the terms of service agreement that you kind of sign when you get the service. So keep that in mind, but people do it. They've been doing it for years now, and sometimes, like I say, it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, there's one other thing that I found out that I think is absolutely amazing that they're doing. And it's going to, once again, it's going to curtail that waiting list that we see, as well as that congestion fee, the $100 to $250. Now, how is it going to do it, or what are they doing, besides the version 3s that are not up there yet? Well, what they decided to do is to install additional ground stations. Well, the original ground stations are these areas usually out in the nowhere's land with a ton of power going into it, and all of these dish lined up in a row. Well, those are the large ground stations. Well, they now have micro ground stations that we are seeing across the US and possibly overseas too. Now, where are these located and what the heck do they look like? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you. So what they're doing is they're taking the Tesla supercharger areas, right, where you can go and charge your Tesla. Now, why are they using these areas? Well, number one, they're getting a ton of power there, so they have a lot of extra power available to them, number one. They are pretty secure unless some idiots decide to burn them down or vandalize them because they have no sense. That's for another video. But they have the power there, and what they're doing is they're kind of encapsulating the, let's say, dish, the receiving dish that they would have normally in other locations behind a wall or inside a unit, or possibly even just sticking out the top of the charging bay, the charging area. And you will see them. Now, sometimes you won't know what they are, sometimes you will. People on Reddit and people that I've seen post these pictures are like, oh, SpaceX Starlink is now attached to some of the Tesla stations. Maybe now we can get service at these No. They're not antennas for you to use for connectivity. They're antennas that are being used to receive and send signal and now become a micro ground station at that location. But a lot of people don't know that because it doesn't look like it. But that's what they are. They are micro ground stations at these Tesla supercharging locations, which is pretty damn cool. So what that means is you're going to end up with this mass grid or this mesh network of ground stations in areas that you don't even know that they exist, once again, where Tesla charging stations are. Very, very cool. That will 100% offload a ton of this traffic that is going on. Because what ends up happening if there's a ton of congestion in one area, like I said, in this conal area, well, there's only one usually ground station around that location, and that ground station is getting just pummeled, okay? They can only handle so much traffic, and that's what ends up happening a lot of times. Latency when it comes to SpaceX Starlink doesn't happen between you and a satellite. The latency that you see and that, let's say, the speed reductions that happen are between you, or let's say the satellite, and the ground station, from the ground station to the POP or the point of presence, and then back to the ground station, back up to a satellite, and then back down to you. That's where all of that latency, or where that load time is. Because the time it takes for you to send a signal from your antenna to a satellite and back is only about 3.5 milliseconds, 4 milliseconds. It's nothing, guys. It's absolutely nothing. So when you see latency of like 60 milliseconds, you got to understand it is not between you and the satellite back to you. It's not. It's everything that's happening on the ground. So keep that in mind. So anyways, I really love this. I think that's really great what they're doing when it comes to not only charging more, but also charging less. I think that's great. In comparison to, like I said before, all the telcos continuously go up, SpaceX Starlink kind of weighs it, all right? And I will tell you right now, my personal opinion is, yes, we're seeing those congestion fees of $100 to $250, but in my opinion, I think that we will see SpaceX Starlink costs go down as we see the version 3 satellites on orbit, and as we see more of these micro ground stations everywhere at every one of these Tesla locations. I think this is a big, big thing. The prices are going to continue to go down. Just like now, you're seeing that $200 reduction from $349 for the dish down to $149. That's a major reduction. I paid $600. when I got mine, 48 months ago or so. Anyways, guys, I hope you found value in this video. If you have, throw it a thumbs up. That would be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, and even more importantly, share with your community. Share with Reddit, with Facebook, with wherever you frequent. I would appreciate it. Also, if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a thank you button right down there. You can give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, it's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And if you want SpaceX Starlink news and reviews and how-tos and all the rest of this stuff, I have about 460 videos, about close to 470 now. I put a link right over here. You can click on it now if you want. It'll take you to a playlist with all of these helpful how-tos and tips and tricks and what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, and all the rest of this stuff. And of course, as I always say, the why behind it all, because this channel is always about the why. Finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com. If there's something there that you like, check it out. All of my merch, my tees, my shirts, my books, all the rest of the stuff. Pick something up. Help support me and my family. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.